power plants in Kaduna. Will they alleviate the country's many power supply challenges?
Will more prosecutions follow the release of Congo's former vice president, Jean-Pierre Bemba? Victims are calling for a reversal of the ruling.
Is there a viable solution to drug abuse among young people in Nigeria? The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency is seeking one. Africa 54 starts right now.
Hello and thanks for tuning into the show that goes around the continent to bring stories near and far. I'm Chamberlain Uso at Channel Television here in Lagos. I'm joined by Vincent Makori at Voice of America in Washington.
Well, thanks a lot. I'm Vincent Makori at our global headquarters in Washington, D.C. Happy to be with you again for another edition of Africa 54. Let's start off with a look at plants in Kaduna. Chimale, also in Lagos, brings you that story.
Well, yes, Nigeria's Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, has commissioned 3 electricity plants in Kaduna. This development is expected to alleviate the country's many power supply challenges.
For decades, power outages and estimated billing have been the lot of electricity consumers in Nigeria. Over the years, population explosion and the increased demand for electricity have made the problem more glaring. The 200 MVA transformer station in Mando, 260 MVA transformer stations in Kakuri, and another 60 MVA station in Zaria are some of the efforts to address the electricity demand.
What we come to do is to add on to the energy transformer capacity. Many more houses have been built, many more families have settled in this neighborhood, and therefore over the years, the population has exceeded the transformer capacity.
We have significantly increased the capacity of the powerhouse from 150 megawatt to 240 megawatt.
The minister was also part of a meeting of players in the power sector in Kaduna. They discussed problems of local transmission, including metering and billing, some of the greatest concerns at the moment.
In terms of providing access to a 37 billion naira loan for a company that is a potential meter asset provider, and I encourage DISCOs to take benefit of it. We also discuss the intervention by the legislative side of government seeking to pass a bill to mandate the elimination of estimated billing and possibly criminalize it.
How we can improve in terms of transmission, how we can complete the outstanding projects, and how we can also improve in terms of distribution.
According to the minister, power supply should improve soon because the Transmission Company of Nigeria and the Niger Delta Power Holding Company have at least 270 power boosting projects like those he commissioned in Kaduna between them at various stages of completion.
Joining us now to talk about the energy situation, particularly paying for what is consumed, is Mr. Sunday Odunton. He is the Executive Director of the Association of Nigerian Electricity Distributors. Welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you very much.
What can you tell us is the current situation with the metering supply gap?
Well, first of all, we need to understand where we were before the entities were privatized. We came on board on the 1st of November 2013. And when we came on board, we met a metering gap of over 5 million households that were not metered. The problem with the metering gap started as far back as 1952, in the days of ECN. And what happened was that as soon as people moved into a new property, they were supposed to be metered from day one. But those things were not happening right over the years through NEPA, PACN, and then the privatization happened. So as at the time we came on board, over 5 million metering gap. As at today, we still have about 4.1 million households yet unmetered. And this is also in addition to the fact that Nigeria has a very poor sense of figure, which means we have to do a lot of enumeration, which is still ongoing But even with the current, what we're talking about, the issue of how many meters do we need to fix, the maximum that each disco can do, even with the incoming private operators, they'll be able to do an average of 20,000 meters per disco per month. That's the maximum. So hopefully, when this thing kicks off, then that means we can gradually bridge the gap of that metering gap.
Talk to us about this narrative out there, which suggests that discos benefit from estimated billing, and as such, that's why they were foot dragging about installing meters.
Again, that's part of the misinformation, or should I say, perhaps for those who do not understand how the system works. Meters to us at discos is just like the way SIM card is to the telecoms. So it is not true that we are not interested in metering. The fact is that we make more money from metering than when it is otherwise. And apart from the fact that people also bypass prepaid meters, but even that's about 30%, right? But even we can deal with that, because we can monitor that and we can take appropriate action on that. And that's why we said it before, that instead of any attempt to criminalize estimated billing, what we should be doing is to criminalize energy theft. We should be looking at the mitigants, the steps that we have taken to mitigate all these, because we don't always get it right.
Are you speaking about the House of Representatives move to criminalize estimated billing?
Yes, because what we told them, and I'm happy that we've told them to have a second look at it. It's not just about us. If you criminalize estimated billing, what you're saying is that I must not give anybody estimated billing. Once I do that, that's a criminal offense.
What's wrong with that?
So what do you now do with 56% of Nigerians that are omitted? So it's either they're now saying that I should not supply electricity to those 56%.
No, is that what it says? Estimated billing is different from when you actually go in and do a proper calculation, isn't it?
No, what we're saying is this. Estimated billing happens as a result of people not having meters. Okay? You give estimated billing to a metered customer.
People not having prepaid meters.
See, when you say meter, it could be prepaid, it could be postpaid.
So if one has a meter,
yes,
he still receives, or they still receive estimated billing, don't they?
No. If those who have meters are not supposed to receive estimated billing,
but in the
those that do, those who get estimated billing are people whose meters have become obsolete. Once the meter is with you for over 10 years, we check it, we test it, and once names are checked and they say the integrity of that meter is in doubt, then that meter ought to be changed. If the meters are available, the best thing to do is to go there and swap it and give them a new meter. You need to understand the fact that as distributors, as of today, we still buy electricity in excess of 18 naira 88 kobo. We are only allowed to sell the same for 31 naira 56 kobo. Even anywhere in the world, where do you buy a product for 18 naira and you are only allowed to sell at 31 naira, and nobody is feeling the shortfall between 31 naira and 18 naira?
Tell us,
yes,
how much should one buy a meter?
Like I told you, an average for three-phase meter, it should be an average of 73,000 naira. With the MAP regulation coming on board now, we have single-phase, three-phase. And I'm talking about smart meters, either prepaid or postpaid. Okay, most people even prefer prepaid because when it's prepaid meter, you buy your credit, you vend before you use. So pay as you go. That seems to be more at home with a lot of people. Some people also prefer postpaid. But whether it's postpaid or prepaid, once the MAP regulation, this program kicks off, we have no doubt that what the federal government is doing now in the power sector will work.
Mr. Sunday Odunton, thank you for talking to us today on Africa 54.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, I want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we covered. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa 54. And check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. Coming up, can an Ebola outbreak be contained? Doctors race to vaccinate 1,000 people in the Democratic Republic of Congo.